Hi folks, it's Dr. Rowe here. This is a really short video. I've got a lot that I'm getting on with today and I've got still several calls to make, actually property related ironically, so a bit of a busy morning. So a few people have been asking questions just recently about section 21. I've had some messages on this. There's quite a bit of information out there at the moment. I'll just give you my sort of tuppence on it, but do go seek more further advice on it. So for those of you that are fairly new to property or maybe already in the market, you'll know that with section 21, as landlords, we have the ability to evict a tenant from the property with a 2 months notice. And just looking through some notes on this actually that I made a couple of weeks ago. The term is a no-fault eviction. And historically, you have a 6 month contract and then you can give your tenant a 2 month notice. Under section 8, if there's antisocial behaviour or certain rules that come in on behaviour of the tenant or that they've not behaved according to the original tenancy agreement, then you can actually have them removed from the property earlier. But the section 21 notice is the one that's been up for a big discussion, and there's been talk of this and specifically back end of last year, 2019, of the government abolishing section 21. Now, this has caused a real ricochet effect throughout the whole of the Landlord Association and all of us that are professional landlords around the UK because, of course, the concern is if we have the no-fault eviction removed, how can we get our tenants out? And that's made a lot of landlords nervous to the point where there's suggestions that there could be a large sell-off of properties into the marketplace if this happens, particularly for landlords that are maybe amateur landlords that are not good at qualifying their tenants. And trust me, I come across a lot of these in the field that I've been in for the last 15-20 years, educating people on property investing. We get a lot of people come through the door that just haven't had a structure to how they run their property business. They haven't had the right tax structure. They haven't had the right tenancies in place. They're working with not so professional letting agents. They're armchair investors that maybe haven't got themselves trained. So typically what I come across is people that have had bad experiences, and of course they're the sort of landlords that when they hear something like this start to panic. That said, all of us as landlords don't really want to be in a position where we've got a tenant and it's very difficult to get them out. Now, the suggestion has been that in the talk of abolishing section 21, the no-fault eviction rule, that the section 8 would be revised, and section 8 is of course the ability to get them out during the course of the tenancy period of 6 months. But there's been no specific details on this, so for those of you that are thinking, well, give me a definitive answer, so somebody said, has it been implemented yet? No, it hasn't been implemented yet. And so this is the challenge we've got at the moment, is it's still up in the air, and COVID-19 has just thrown a curveball on that. Now, just to be clear, under COVID-19 at the moment, the 2 months has been extended to 3 months. So it hasn't been a complete ban on landlords not being able to evict tenants. That's my understanding of it. And again, there's different takes on this, and it's all happened so quickly that if you speak to different letting agents, they've got a slightly different interpretation of it. But if you go and look at some of the official sites, essentially what they're saying is the 2 month notice now is extended to 3 months, and the potential to extend that out to 6 months depending on what's happening over the coming months ahead with COVID. It doesn't, though, apply to somebody that's already, well, in theory, it doesn't apply to someone that's already been subject to that notice. So, for example, as we went into COVID, had you issued a notice 21 on somebody already, that 3 month extension in theory hasn't been applied to that. That's certainly our understanding of it. But again, you need to go and seek that conversation out with your letting agent, and you've got to wear a fairly sensible hat as well, in view of the fact that you've got to think about where your tenants are going. Now, it may be that you've chosen to evict them because they haven't been the best tenants or circumstances have changed, whatever. And that was already implemented before the new rules have just come in. And this is a temporary rule under COVID-19, bear that in mind. So just thought I'd just give you a quick heads up on that. Going back to the, and I've just got a few notes to myself here, the whole thing with Boris Johnson and what's going to happen with section 21, and will they abolish the no-fault eviction rule? I don't know the answer to that. There's certainly a lot of resistance to it. The Landlord Association have been protesting this and putting a strong argument. I mean, if you think about it from a logical perspective, and we're talking about a lot of properties, I mean, there's a suggestion that something like 15% to 20% of properties might come back into the market from landlords who are owning them, because of the whole concept of removing the no-fault eviction rule, because people, especially like landlords, start panicking. Oh my gosh, what if I can't get my tenants out? If they choose to sell, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of properties coming back onto the market. Now, that means that's going to reduce the number of properties available if more landlords choose not to get into the marketplace. I mean, I see all these things as an opportunity. Now, if you speak to a lot of professional landlords, they'll have the same view. It's where amateurs get differentiated from professionals. To try and give you some numbers on this, I think something like 20% of the private households are rented in the United Kingdom. That is expected to increase to 21%. That's expected to increase, let me go back into my head for the numbers, 25% plus by 2021. And PricewaterhouseCoopers did a survey about 3 years ago that suggested, and again, this is a suggestion, I think in the demographic between 20 and 39-40, that was the largest population of renters, and that the suggestion was that in that demographic, 50% of that group of people would be renting by 2025. That's a huge number of people. What we're talking about here is millions of properties currently being rented in our population. And if the government start implementing too much pressure or making it less appealing for landlords to buy properties or to hold them because they're relaxing too many of these rules that have helped us get tenants out when we've needed to, that could result in a sell-off. Now, of course, there's opportunity with that, of course, for those of you that are professional landlords that are looking at this, as long as you're putting the right tenants in place, of course. But it also means that if you're, the government are desperately needing, and we've got COVID-19, we're going to come through this with a large number of people that are in financial difficulties, possibly need social housing, or maybe struggling to get back into their jobs, so they may have to sell their homes and may need to rent. So there's going to be a massive demand for social housing and private rented sector as well. So if the government implements something like Section 21 abolishing that, and that means that more properties get sold off by certain landlords, there's going to be less opportunities for people to rent, and that's a counterintuitive move. So it makes more sense for the government to start to make it, look at the Section 8 anyway, because that needs addressing, and then keeping the Section 21, this is my view, but maybe modifying it in such a way that the rules are clearer, the boundaries are defined, and everybody's very clear on how to operate. Because tenants will need homes, and as landlords we have a responsibility to help those people out and give them good quality homes. And we also want good quality tenants. I mean, if you run a one-star hotel, you're going to attract a very different type of client into a one-star hotel than if you open up a five-star hotel. So you as landlords need to think about providing a good quality home, which effectively then becomes your 4 or 5-star hotel, attracting the right type of tenants in. And that should avoid this issue that some landlords have with tenants. The other thing, of course, is a change of strategy where you're coming to the end of a tenancy agreement and actually you've chosen to change to maybe from a buy-to-let to a HMO. So you want to be able to get your tenants out. So the reality is that nobody really knows at the moment. I think everything has been certainly put on hold as a result of what's happened with COVID-19. So any actions that they were looking to implement, I can't imagine right now they're going to be speeded up. If anything, it's going to be protracted. So the main objective at the moment is watch this space and talk as regularly as you can. Keep an open communication for those of you that are landlords with your lettings agents to find out what their suggestions are and what's happening in that particular area you're buying in terms of you possibly evicting tenants that are already there that you were planning to do anyway. Change over a tenancy, change over a strategy. Might be going from a buy-to-let into a social housing, might be going from a buy-to-let into a HMO. Good. Hopefully that helps. I've got to get back to my work. Dr. Oak, signing out.